So I want to talk about the round function now. As you remember from last week, if we type equals, we can enter in a function. So if I type equals round, you see the help pops up and shows us that we have three options. There's round, round up, and round down. Now this looks primarily at decimal numbers, so if we have say 64, 32, 45, whatever, it'll just leave that alone. But if we have 64.4, then it'll want to round it. Now the count right here, that determines how many decimal places it looks at. Now normally it only looks at the one right after the decimal place. So what we're going to look at is we're going to type round A5, close the parenthesis, and hit enter. And you see that just stays at -635 because the digit right after the decimal is a 0, so it's rounding down. Now if we type equals round up, open parenthesis, A5, close parenthesis, you see we have -636 because it doesn't matter what's after the decimal, it's always rounding up. Now we're going to type equals round down, open parenthesis, A5 to grab that value, close parenthesis, and enter. And we have -635. Now let's change this number a little bit. So if we change this to, say, 635, I'm going to ditch the negative. Let's actually just make it 35.5 and hit enter. Well, now you can see round actually goes to 36, round up will obviously go to 36, and round down, even though it's 0.5, will round to 35. Let's make this a different number. Let's make 30.9. You can see these go to 31 and this goes to 30. And that's really it for round. The other thing though to be aware of is you can actually determine how many decimal places you want it to go to. Now this is both how many decimal places it looks at when it's rounding and how many it's going to include. So if we look at just normal round, so equals round parentheses A5, comma, I'm going to put 4 and then the close parenthesis. So it doesn't actually do anything because it's rounding it up to 4 places. So if we put a 1, it doesn't do anything. 2, 3, 6. Now it starts to round, and you can see these values don't really change very much. But if I change this to, say, a 5, well, that's going to stay at 5 because it's only looking at 4 decimal places. But if I put a 9 here, well, then that rounds up. So that's what the count means. Now, one thing to know, you can combine functions. So you see over here we've written sum. Well, what if I want to round that sum? Well, the way it works is it treats this value, this sum A1 colon A5, as the same as this round A5. So essentially it's treating this whole function, sum A1 colon A5, as a single entity. So the way we would do that is I'm going to actually put that right here in the cell beneath. I'm going to type equals. I'm going to type round. I'm going to type a parenthesis, and then I'm going to type sum, another open parenthesis, and I'm going to type A1 colon A5 close parenthesis, comma 4 close parenthesis, and hit enter. And you can see that's this value that has been rounded. So then if I change something over here, say I make this -200.6785 and hit enter, you can see both of these change and this rounds. So that's really useful for all kinds of number crunching. And this is a really good demonstration of how you can combine functions. And again, to see a full list of functions that you can add, you can click on this here. It's the sigma. It kind of looks like a funky E. We click on that, we have these basic functions here. Now these are kind of the 5 main functions that most people will use, and you can click this more functions button to open a new tab or a new window to see an entire list of functions along with some help text and sort of the syntax how to use it. Just to see, I want to type round, And this is the one we were just using. You can see it says the name of it. Here's the syntax where you type round, the number you want to round and how far out, and then a description of how to use it. Pretty useful. And of course you can type round up, that'll show up. You can type round down, or you can just leave it at round and it will show you everything. There's kind of a lot in here. So if you ever want to use a function, that's a good place to look them up. Alright,